Dave Bossie is the president of Citizens United. He is a member of the Republican National Committee and one of the chief campaign managers for Donald Trump back in 2016 in his successful bid against Hillary Clinton. Hey, Dave, welcome back to the briefing. Thank you very much for being with us.
Oh, great to be back with you, Steve. Thanks so much for having me.
A lot of news to unpack, and yes, we have to talk about the looming government shutdown in just a moment, but I do want to get your reaction to the president earlier today and the defense secretary as they met with the top military brass at Quantico, the Marine base. And I want to begin with what the president said about the National Guard in America's cities, Portland, Oregon, Memphis, Tennessee, Chicago, here in Washington, D.C. Here's President Trump.
And I told Pete, we should use some of these dangerous cities as training grounds for our military, National Guard, but military, because we're going into Chicago very soon. That's a big city with an incompetent governor, stupid governor, stupid.
So that's the president. Your thoughts about the National Guard? Clearly, they are not trained as police officers, but potentially a new role for the National Guard and the military.
Well, I think the commander-in-chief, the president, is obviously talking about the urban warfare, and when he talks like that, our troops are involved in inner cities all over the world, and we saw that in whether it's Fallujah or any other big city in Iraq back in the war. So these are things that I found it entertaining over the last several days that the left and the mainstream media wants to wring their hands about the commander-in-chief calling together the commanders of our armed forces from around the world to have a talk, have a meeting, share ideas. I think that it is a remarkable thing. It's an incredibly important thing. Look, if one of the leaders of NVIDIA or Apple or Facebook, or they would, if they called together all their heads of their departments from around the world, marketing, nobody would blink an eye because that's what they do. This is something that people have a hard time. They can't stop hating Donald Trump, so they criticize everything. And I think that they lose credibility when they do, because the commander-in-chief and the secretary of war called a meeting to discuss the warrior ethos, to discuss that we are done with the policies of the past. We are going to put the safety and security of this nation first and foremost and only. And I think that that's a refreshing breath of air for our military leaders.
And Dave, the other big part of the speech today by the Defense Secretary, Pete Hegseth, to your point, he talked about no longer a woke military and a gender-neutral military, that both men and women have to be prepared, especially those combatants on the front lines. And he said this.
When it comes to any job that requires physical power to perform in combat, those physical standards must be high and gender neutral. If women can make it, excellent. If not, it is what it is. If that means no women qualify for some combat jobs, so be it. That is not the intent, but it could be the result, so be it.
And so, Dave, what are your thoughts on this new directive from the White House, from the Pentagon, from the Defense Secretary, and what it means for the armed forces?
Oh, my goodness. It means the men and women of the military are in better hands. When you talk to the young men, they get nervous. And I can tell you, it's the same thing for the fire department and the police department. If women are held to the same standards physically as men and make it, fantastic. But if they do not, they put the men on both sides of you in danger. And by the way, that goes for weak men too. If men can't live up to the standards that everyone, men and women, have to do, they're not in the military. This is not a popularity contest. This is life and death, and it's about defending this nation. And so I am grateful that once again, that we are going to have a military that is going to be based on merit, on being able to perform the duties. And if you are a woman and doing it, fantastic. But you should not be allowed No one, men and women, if they can't cut it, they can't be in. That's just simple. And it's very logical. And again, I'm a big believer in this policy.
The other essence of the speech, it seems as if he was referring to those who are minorities that rose the ranks, that did so based on the color of their skin, not their characteristics and their capabilities. Do you sense that as well? I mean, are we promoting people simply because they're a woman or that they're a minority?
Well, we clearly saw that during the Biden administration. That was an open book, not a secret at all. And that is one of the reasons that the American people voted to make sure that whether it is transgender ideology, whether it is men using women's bathrooms, whether it is being promoted above someone, it doesn't matter who. Anyone who is being allowed to be promoted over another person where they don't cut it and the other person deserved it, the American people are sick of it. And that's what this is about. That's what they were saying. And we're not going to have any more of it. There's plenty of capable people. It doesn't matter the color of your skin, your race, your ethnicity. It doesn't matter. If you can cut it, if you can make the grade, you are going to succeed. But you shouldn't be able to use it as a crutch. And that's what this warrior ethos, that is what this getting away from this woke ideology is all about.
We're talking to Dave Bossie from Citizens United. And Dave, I want to go back a few years. The last government shutdown, there was a very public meeting in the Oval Office. I say public because cameras were allowed, as the president during his first term had this exchange with the Senate's Democratic leader, Chuck Schumer. Nancy Pelosi also in the room. There were no cameras yesterday in the Oval Office. They spoke to reporters afterwards. But I'm going to go back to what the president was saying back in December of 2018.
20 times you have called for, I will shut down the government if I don't get my wool. None of us have said it.
You want to know something?
You've said it.
Okay, you want to put that on my...
You've said it.
I'll take it.
Okay, good.
You know what I'll say? Yes. If we don't get what we want, one way or the other, whether it's through you, through a military, through anything you want to call, I will shut down the government.
Okay,
absolutely.
fair enough.
And I am proud, and I'll tell you what, I am proud to shut down the government for border security, Chuck, because the people of this country don't want criminals and people that have lots of problems and drugs pouring into our country. So I will take the mantle. I will be the one to shut it down. I'm not going to blame you for it. The last time you shut it down, it didn't work. I will take the mantle of shutting down.
So, Dave Bossie, that was then in 2018. And now, of course, Democrats are saying we're going to shut the government down if we don't have these subsidies to provide for those Americans who qualify for the Affordable Care Act. That was then. This is now. Your thoughts are what?
Look, that clip you just played is one of the reasons that Donald Trump got reelected last November. The American people want leadership. They don't want an auto pen. Okay, Joe Biden was absent. He was an absentee president in a dangerous time, in a dangerous world. We didn't have a functioning president. And the American people got it. And they saw what leadership looks like. And so right now, today, when the president and the Congress are recognizing that the reckless spending by Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, you name it, generationally, and by the way, some Republicans too, okay, over the last several generations, have gotten us to where we are. We are in a place where we have to make tough decisions. We are at a $37 trillion debt, and we are staring at 38 coming very quickly. And so we have to make decisions on spending, and we have taken the last year to try to get our financial house in order. They have just started to get the financial house in order with DOGE and other efforts, whether it's the appropriations process or rescissions. And now you have the Democrats who are going to shut down the government if we don't put money back into PBS, into USAID. Battles that we have already fought and won. The Democrats are holding hostage for money for illegal immigrants that are in this country ahead of the American people and the American taxpayer. This is the reason. They are doubling down on stupid. They are doubling down on the bad policies. Steve, that lost them the election last November. And the American people have had a belly full of it, and they know we are out of money, and we don't have it. And they are going to shut down the government over more spending, not less.
Dave Bossie, he is president of Citizens United, a member of the Republican National Committee, and served as one of the deputy campaign managers for Trump's 2016 victory. Hey, Dave, always appreciate your perspective. Thank you very much for joining the program.
Thanks for having me, Steve. Appreciate it.